Ever been down there before?
No.
Most of the dressing rooms are down this corridor. Few feet, few miles, depending on whether you won or lost. Hello, Jimmy.
Give me a dime, will you?
Oh, sure.
Here you are.
Thanks.
You will write about Jimmy, won't you, Mr. Davis?
Sure, I will, Lou. Tell him I'll be in a few minutes. Give him a chance to catch his breath.
Good. It'll make them remember him a little while longer.
What are you calling for, Jimmy? You know she won't answer. Forget about it, Jimmy. Just pretend like she's dead, huh?
Thanks.
Invited Arch Davies to watch a legal fight I was involved in. He returned the favor by inviting me to see the main event of a boxing match. Fighting is a sport in which the opponents wear short pants and bleed openly. Outside of that, there isn't much difference between the courtroom and the ring. I was about to meet the loser in the action.
Come in. I knew you'd be the first to come. Thanks, Art.
Jimmy, I want you to meet a friend of mine, Herb Maris. He's a lawyer. Good one.
Jimmy? Mr. Maris? How'd you like the fight? Well, he kind of batted me around a little bit, didn't he?
Yes, he really did.
Art here thinks I should quit. Don't you, Art?
That's right, Jimmy.
And do what?
I don't know. You're not done, Jimmy. Any other fields? You're still young. There'll be a lot of things you could do. Married, aren't you?
No.
You can go now, Lou. I'll call you in a couple days. Yeah, I'm married. Why?
Well, a lot of guys go in business with their wife. They open a store or something.
I said you can go now, Lou.
His wife told him that if he lost this fight, she was walking out on him. Now, I ask you, Mr. Davis, is that a low blow or isn't it a low blow? I'm gone.
Well, I guess we better be going too.
No, wait. Lou don't understand. And I wouldn't want you to get the wrong idea.
Jimmy, I read a sports column, not a gossip column. It's in it.
Sure. So long, Mr. Maris. If I ever need a good lawyer, I'll get in touch with you.
You do that.
There's a Mr. Art Davies waiting outside to see you. He says it's important. Okay?
Okay, but only for a few minutes.
Mr. Davies, you want to...
Hello, Herb.
All right, come in. What can I do for you?
Do you remember Jimmy Stockton, the fighter? He's under arrest for murdering his wife.
Yes. A neighbor heard a violent noise in Stockton's apartment last night. Called the police. They came to find a room full of packed suitcases. Sit down.
Thanks.
May dead on the floor of strangulation. Jimmy Stockton, her husband, standing over. I read about it in the morning papers.
Well, he phoned me from the jail. You know, that one free call they give him. He insists he didn't do it.
Oh, that's not surprising.
Well, we both know he was resigned to the fact that his wife was going to walk out on him. So why would he kill her? Herb, Jimmy wants you to defend him.
No.
Why not?
Well, in the first place, I'm a corporation lawyer. Secondly, I have too many other responsibilities.
Well, he remembers your saying, you do that, when he told you that he'd get in touch with you if he needed a good lawyer.
Art, that was just an offhand remark. You know that.
Well, Herb, was that line about people turning their back and walking away an offhand remark, too?
Some attorneys like to think of the law in capital letters as if it were an abstraction far removed from the frailties of human beings. There's nothing that brings them back to reality faster than a visit to jail.
Hello, Lieutenant. I'd like to see Jimmy Stockton. You representing him?
Possibly.
Hooked again, huh?
Maybe. Got a coroner's report?
Yeah, it's almost ready.
I'd like to see Stockton alone.
Okay, Counselor. It's your reputation.
Thanks for coming, Mr. Maris. I really appreciate it.
Tell me what happened. Stop it, Jimmy. If you're innocent, there's no reason for that.
I'm sorry. May is dead. I didn't do it, Mr. Maris. I went straight home after the fight. It was May lying on the couch. I thought at first she changed her mind about leaving. So I called to her. She didn't answer. I thought she was asleep. So I called to her again. I said, May, honey? She still didn't answer. And I went over to her and shook her.
And then the police came in?
That's right. I didn't even know she was dead.
What time was this?
About 12, midnight. I came straight home after you and Art left. Apartment's only about 2 blocks.
You went home. There was your wife, suitcases packed, ready to walk out on you.
No, I told her...
You asked her not to go. You told her you loved her. You begged her to stay. She refused. You lost your temper. You shouted at her, getting angrier and angrier, until finally something snapped. You grabbed her by the throat and you started choking her.
No, I didn't.
Come on, Jimmy, come on. Tell me the truth. Confess. It'll be a lot easier. Tell me you strangled your wife.
I didn't strangle her. I couldn't strangle anyone.
Couldn't you? That report ready yet, Lieutenant?
Huh? Oh, yes. It shows that May Stockton died of strangulation. Her neck was broken, which indicates she was choked to death by a person of extreme physical strength.
What was the time of death?
Between 11:45 p.m. and 12:15 a.m. In other words, after the fight, which gave Jimmy Stockton plenty of time to get home.
What was the name of the neighbor who called in the police?
Mrs. Fred Benedict.
Her address?
221 9th Avenue. You're a man, Counselor, innocent or guilty.
What do you think?
He wouldn't be in that jail cell right now if the facts in this case didn't add up to him being guilty. Now, I'm willing to give you all the help you need if you think you can prove otherwise. Frankly, Counselor, I think Jimmy Stockton's due for the biggest KO of his life.
We'll see.
Counselor, before you get back, Jimmy Stockton will probably have confessed.
Don't try to sweat it out of him, Lieutenant.
You know me better than that, Hurd.
I tried that, Lieutenant. It won't work. People generally talk more freely to lawyers than to policemen. Mrs. Benedict was no problem. She'd talk freely to anyone.
I'm not the type to mind other people's business, Mr. Maris. My husband will vouch for that, won't you, dear? But these walls aren't any too thick. And last night, I couldn't help but overhear. Not the exact words, but enough to know what was going on.
What was going on, Mrs. Benedict? Tell me something you heard.
I told you I couldn't hear the exact words. His voice was muffled. But he must have been asking her to stay, and she must have been saying no. I did hear her say no.
Then you called the police.
Yes. I couldn't go back to sleep, and it was so quiet, you know, all of a sudden. I thought I'd better have them check.
Oh, then you didn't call the police right away.
Well, no, not right away.
Do you realize, Mrs. Benedict, the vital importance of the time element in this?
Why?
Well, if we can establish the exact time of the argument, we may also be able to establish Jimmy Stockton's whereabouts at that time.
I know his whereabouts at that time. That's what I've been telling you. He was right there with her.
But you don't remember what the man said. Did you recognize his voice?
It was his, the husband's. Who else would it be?
Why do you say that?
I don't know. I thought...
Do you know Jimmy Stockton's voice so well that you can testify to it in court and possibly condemn a man to death?
No. I mean, I don't want to go to court.
How about you, Mr. Benedict? Did you recognize his voice?
He wasn't here.
No. I have a little studio over on Clark Street.
Mr. Benedict's hobby is art.
That I go to once in a while to get away from things.
I see.
She was no good, Mr. Maris.
Did you know her well?
Well enough. She's come over here to borrow things. Mainly ice cubes. All she could talk about was clothes and money. And she was married 4 times.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Used to brag about it. 4 times. And always to the same type.
What type is that?
You know, the physical type. One was a football player, and one was a rodeo rider, and the fighter you know about. One was a lion tamer or something like that. Those are the ones she married.
Hello, Mr. Maris.
Jimmy?
Lieutenant.
Tell me about your wife's other husbands.
Huh?
I understand she was married 3 times before you. Tell me the names and anything else you know about them, especially if they lived in this part of the country.
I don't know what you're talking about. May was never married to nobody but me.
Mrs. Benedict had said that May Stockton was married 4 times. Jimmy Stockton said she was married only to him. It could have been that May kept her former marriages a secret from Jimmy. I had to find out.
Hello, Constable. I got that information you called in about. May had 3 other husbands. Here are their names. I'm running a check on them now.
Okay, so she was married before.
You don't seem very surprised.
I lied.
Don't you want to help Jimmy, or do you just want to drop the whole thing and plead guilty?
No.
Then stop fighting me.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. Don't apologize. All I want is the truth. Now look me in the eye, will you?
All right. Now tell me why you lied.
I was afraid it'd get in the newspaper. People would get the wrong idea about me. She was just a kid then.
Jimmy, May is dead.
I know, but we gotta respect her memory.
Her other husbands were Linton Wagner, Roy W. Baldwin, Edward B. Kirk. Is that right? What do you know about him?
Nothing, except May was married to him, that's all.
Did you ever meet any of them?
No. And May never saw him. She never even thought about it.
Which one was the rodeo rider?
I don't know.
Jimmy, tell me the truth.
Mr. Maris, I am telling you the truth. I didn't know anything about any of them. Don't you believe me?
Yeah, Jimmy. I believe you.
background has come in on two of them. Kirk and Wagner. Doesn't look like much, though.
What have you got in Baldwin?
Nothing yet. We're still checking.
I don't think Stockton knew much about his predecessors.
How do you account for him lying?
Well, he just didn't like to think of his May being married to anyone else. He wanted to think of her as something pure and special.
Special she was.
Let's hear.
Well, they both have records. Edward B. Kirk is an ex-rodeo rider with forgery as a sideline.
What was he doing the night of the murder?
Well, I don't know what he was doing, but I know where he was. Sing Sing.
Great. The other one?
Lynn P. Wagner, ex-football player. That's all we got.
Could I use your phone for a minute?
Sure, why not?
Hello, Art. This is Herb Maris.
Oh, hello, Herb. How are we doing?
Do you know anything about a football player by the name of Linton P. Wagner?
Wagner, yeah. He was a fullback somewhere in the Middle West. Oh, wait a minute, Herb. Yeah, I do remember him. He's dead. He was killed in an automobile accident about 5 years ago. Yeah, the reason I remember him so well is I wrote a 2-column obit on him myself.
I see, Art. Thanks. Wagner's dead. That means Baldwin's the only one left.
Except for Jimmy Stockton. Thank you.
Well?
Roy W. Baldwin, 6 arrests, including 3 for assault and 1 prison term for armed robbery. He was released 3 months ago and reports regularly to his probation officer.
Where?
Here in this city. There he is. Baldwin?
Who are you? You look like one.
Where were you the night before last?
Oh, no, you don't.
Don't what?
Don't pin that rap on me.
How'd you know she was murdered?
I can read. We got divorced 5 years ago. I ain't seen her since.
All right, Baldwin, let's have the rest.
Okay, here it is. I ain't gonna take no murder rap. Me and May was gonna go away together after the fight. Unless he won. I knew he wouldn't win. I didn't kill her, though. I got an ironclad alibi.
Let's hear it.
The night May was killed, I was in a bar on 14th Street, the Clover Bar.
Can you prove that?
Yeah. I got in a fight, beat up a guy. I got out of there fast. Newspaper says he's in the hospital. You know about this?
Ah, that's right. Happened a few minutes before midnight. The bartender called the police. The other guy has a broken jaw.
Check it out. You won't have no trouble identifying me.
All right, Baldwin. You're under arrest for assault. Let's go. That eliminates the first 3 husbands.
Leaving only Jimmy Stockton.
Well, let's see what the lab boys have come up with.
I'd like to come along with you.
That's a good idea, Herb.
Hello, Lieutenant.
Hi, Dave. How's it going?
It's almost finished. We found a lot of prints.
Jimmy Stockton's?
Uh-huh. Mrs. Stockton's. And another set.
Where were they?
Well, mainly on the table next to the couch where the body was found.
How'd they check out?
They didn't. We ran a federal check, too. Nothing there either.
That's great. That means whoever they belong to has never been arrested, never been in the Army, Navy, or Marines.
Was there anything else?
But just that. Thanks a lot, Ed. It was found smashed. It's been reassembled. Apparently it was broken before or after the crime, since there doesn't appear to have been any struggle. At least not in the area of the room where the statue was.
What is it?
Well, that looks like a slingshot, so this must be David, making the big guy Goliath, and a woman sitting by watching.
Sorry, Herb, I don't get the message.
Well, I should say it's courage born out of love, being triumphant over physical strength. This is obviously the work of an amateur, isn't it?
Definitely, judging from the crudeness of the casting.
Suppose this thing had a personal meaning for May. What would you say it represented?
What are you driving at, Herb?
Well, we know the big guy, Goliath, we know who he is.
Jimmy Stockton, the fighter?
Exactly. And the woman sitting by watching is May. That leaves only David.
Very interesting. But I still don't get the message.
I think we have a new suspect. A quiet, henpecked man with an escape from a big problem. Come on, Lieutenant. Let's find out.
Come in. Mr. Maris.
Mr. Benedict, this is Lieutenant Weston of the police department.
How do you do?
How do you do? Sit down, please.
Police department. I'm sorry I can't help you. It was my wife that overheard the argument, not me.
Oh, Mr. Benedict, we just want to find out what you remember about that evening.
I don't understand.
Very interesting, Mr. Benedict. You have a fascinating profession.
Profession? Oh, no, it's just a hobby.
Oh, you don't sell it?
Oh, no.
Oh, then you gave that statue of David and Goliath to May.
No, I...
Don't deny it, Mr. Benedict. This is definitely your style. Anybody could see that.
I wasn't trying to lie. I just didn't want any trouble. It was just a casual gift.
Or a token of your love for May?
I hardly knew the woman. It was nothing.
Nothing? The huge Goliath being vanquished by David? You saw it that way. You were no longer the inoffensive little man in the lower apartment, but a David, and cutting out Jimmy Stockton.
It's impossible.
You went to her apartment the night that Jimmy was fighting, but May was done with you. You pleaded with her, but May laughed at you and told you that you meant nothing to her.
That's not
Your
true.
life and dreams were wrapped up in that statue, and she ridiculed it. She told you that she'd always seen you as a foolish little man. When you begged her, she grabbed the statue and smashed it on the floor.
She didn't. I destroyed it. It was too fine for her.
Mr. Benedict, I think you better tell us the rest.
I loved her. She was everything in the world that my wife wasn't. But that night she was the same as Margaret. She said the same things about me.
So you killed her?
We were supposed to run away together if her husband lost the fight. I listened to it on the radio here. After it was over, I went to get her.
But she'd had a better offer. Baldwin.
Yeah.
You argued with her, and that was the argument your wife overheard.
Margaret never even recognized my voice. I guess she never heard me raise it before.
No, I guess you didn't. Get your jacket, Benedict, and let's go.